Well, it's 5 in the morning here in beautiful and historic Rural Retreat, Virginia. Here at the Hotel Orloff, 5 in the morning, October 7th, 2024, in the year of our Lord. Yes. Why are we up so early? Well, I am up a little bit earlier than usual because the dog started barking, but all is well. Today is October 7th, 2024. Hopefully we won't have any earth-shattering events in the news today, but being the one-year anniversary of that big attack on Israel, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some geopolitical events happening today in the Middle East. And we've got another hurricane hitting almost the exact same spot in Florida, around the Tampa area on Wednesday around noon. And we've got the beloved members of the comic book neighborhood down there, like Night Tiger, who just put up a great video yesterday. Got a bunch of cool Bronze Age DC horror books. That was pretty amazing for $1, a little more than $1.50 each. It's at a flea market. Anyway, so we need to pray for all the people that are in harm's way and the people that got zapped last week. It's funny how these hurricanes hit areas where most of the people are going to vote for Donald Trump, but it couldn't possibly be anything. No. But, yeah, my wife's brother is right in the path. He's going to have to evacuate. He's got a doctor's appointment the day before, and then he's going to evacuate. And I was thinking, I think the doctor's probably going to cancel that appointment. Let's hope and let's pray that, everyone's fine. It's real early in the morning. How are you doing, Drew the dog? Drew the dog is awake, and so is Alan the cat. But, I have something weighing heavy on my mind this morning, and that's that my Dr. Solar comics are not in order, and I think I'm going to need to do that before I go to work for almost 11 hours to, almost 11 hours. That's what we do to survive in 2024. So, I was going through these Gold Key comics the other day in a segment that you didn't see. And why didn't you see it? Well, thank you to the Walt Disney Corporation. They objected that I had an Iron Man cartoon playing in the background, 1966 Iron Man cartoon, and the sound hits, just the soundtrack of it playing in the background for my TV while I was showing the Dr. Solar books set off their copyright alarm, and so I had to edit that segment out of the show. That was a couple of episodes back, an episode that not many people watched because most of the day when it was a new episode and would have been primed to be watched by people that only watched the latest episode, it was not available. So anyway, that episode's available to watch now if you so desire. Well, but not this segment, so I'll have to recreate it. But anyway, I was very disappointed to see my Dr. Solars were out of order, and now, let's see, is this the box with the Dr. Solars? Oops, sorry, Drew. Well, today is Monday, and you know what that means. We're going to have a special guest. Actually today, later, I'm going to do a show, either a canned show or a live stream, probably a canned show, because I think we're getting a package in the mail today, which will, an A-OK from Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump contacted me and told me he's going to be sending me some cool magazines and books because of all my support for him. And if you think I'm not telling you the truth, I never lie to you. Look at this. Dear friend, President Donald J. Trump. And it's sent Wednesday morning. And it says, I'm 100% committed to sending you an AOK that should arrive Monday. I need Republican grassroots leaders like you, men and women who have done so much to help our party in the past, working alongside me. So I'm going to send you some magazines and comics that should arrive Monday morning. So, right here, ladies and gentlemen. So, that's later. But now, this is a comic I dearly love. Total War. It would later be changed to Mars Patrol Total War. But this is a... Look at this battle at Niagara Falls. The Mars Patrol races to end Niagara Falls. Now, there's a little asterisk next to Mars that tells you at the bottom that Mars stands for Marine Attack Rescue Service. Yeah. The Mars Patrol races to Niagara Falls to combat another strike by the mysterious invaders. And then it becomes Mars Patrol Total War. George Wilson, one of the unsung artists of our time, that paints most of these gold key covers. Look at that, floating head cover. And look at that, man. They're protecting the Lincoln Monument from sabotage as the alien hordes devastate Washington. Well, they're not protecting it that well. Lincoln's body is still intact. It looks like there is some damage being sustained. Yes, indeed. The hurricane that's hitting on Wednesday is called Milton, which, of course, immediately makes me think of Milton the Monster, the cartoon. And there was a Milton the Monster comic book, and I could have said 100% that I had that comic. And the last time I looked in this box, I don't see it. Milton the Monster. I do have Millie the Lovable Monster. But they didn't name the hurricane Millie the Lovable Monster. They didn't name it Mr. Ed. They go alphabetically. And so they used to be hurricanes always had women's names, and then that was objected to. So why are you saying hurricanes are only women? And Drew knows why that is. But anyway, they said, well, let's have every other time it'll be a woman's name, and every other time it'll be a guy's name. How about that? So, yeah. I was trying to remember the name of the hurricane, and I told my wife, I think it's Melvin, Hurricane Melvin, and she laughed and said, it can't be. Because I was thinking Melvin Monster. Or Melvin was a common name that Harvey Kurtzman liked to use in the old EC Mad, the comic book Mad, the first issue of Mad. It's like, what is it, that slithering blob coming toward us? The parents are saying, this little kid's saying, oh, it's Melvin. Melvin Monster. Yeah, I'm trying to complete a complete run, including all the key issues of Melvin Monster. Key issue. Man, stop using the term key issue. I can't take all these modern terminologies that you come up with, you modern youngster, whippersnapper, members of the comic book community. Just call it an important issue, man. Call it an origin issue. Anyway, I can't find my Milton the Monster comic. I think there might have been only one, possibly two issues of Milton the Monster. It was primarily known as a Saturday morning cartoon, but it was a very good one. He sounded like Gomer Pyle. I'm Milton, your brand new son. Surprise, surprise. Okay. It's hard to imagine Gomer Pyle, Jim Neighbors out on a date with Rock Hudson. That's not an image that you can get into your mind very, very well, so it's better not to think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Dr. Solar was... This is my quest. No matter how hard to organize my Dr. Solars, I'll do it. I'm going to get it done, man. And I'm going to show you how you can do it without even opening the comics, because there's a magic trick with Gold Key. Mother of pearl. I got to get Drew the dog to the vet. Nothing bad. Well, I just got to get her rabies and distemper shot Saturday morning, and then then I gotta get her immediately to the groomer. Those are my missions that I have to do on Saturday morning. But right now it's only Monday morning, so that seems like a million light years away. Okay. Gold Key Comics Box 1. It must be the Dr. Solar's in this box. And indeed he is. Okay. Let's pull them all out. This is my entire collection of Dr. Solar. Well, I'm 59, let's say 55 years of comic book collecting. These are the amount of Dr. Solars that I've amassed. This is a character that started in the Kennedy era, right there at the beginning when all the Marvel superheroes were starting to take hold. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so the first one we're looking at here. See, the thing about Gold Key, let me get some more light. This probably won't make any difference. Is that better? I don't know. I don't know what's better. You gotta tell me down in the comments what's better. Oh, maybe that's good. Or no, I don't know. This is a My Light that I bought in the early 1980s, and I bought when they first invented these things. I got a bunch of them at Lone Star Comics, and that was back before you bagged and boarded. That's before you put a board in the back of them. So these things have held up very well, these My Lights. Okay, so the date on this, I'll show you how you do it. They don't have numbers. They don't put numbers on the front cover of a Gold Key comic. You have to open it up and look at the indicia down here, and it'll tell you what number it is. But that's a hassle if you're in a comic store. You know, they may not want you opening the comics. Probably they don't. So this is how you tell, you know, when it came. It doesn't give you the issue number, but that 3 means 1963. The 11 means November, which is was a scary month. But this was actually out 2 months before that. That's the date. Basically, when you see dates on comics, in most magazines, they're usually dated a couple of months in advance. And this is really the date that you pull, that the newsstand dealer is supposed to pull it off the racks. And they dated in advance to give it a couple of months to sell on the newsstand. So this really, although it says November, you count back to October and then September. So this really came out probably in September, you know, mid-September of 1963. And so it's a wonderful cover. So I know that's how I'm going to file them in this box chronologically, not by issue number. Okay. Oh, and look at what we have here. It's another copy in lower grade of the same issue. Now, how do you know that it's not, how, you might ask, how do I know that's 1963? How do I know it's not 1973 or 1953? Well, no, you can't go by the Comics Code Authority, because Gold Key and Dell never used the Comics Code Authority. They just said, hey, parents, you know that we're good. We've never published any of that crime and horror and stuff with, you know, spikes about to go in someone's eye on the cover of a book. You know, you don't have to worry about it. So they never even put it on there. The thing that's tricky about this with Gold Key is comics were 10 cents from the time that it came along in the 1930s until 1962. I believe it was, I could be wrong. I think it was the very end of 1962. They jumped from 10 cents to 12 cents. This is the end of 1963, and they're saying still only 12 cents. But what we know about comic book history is the comics went up to 12 cents in 62. Unless I'm wrong and it's late 61, because it's 5:20 in the morning and I'm not thinking fully, but I haven't had my caffeine, my Pure Leaf unsweetened iced tea yet. Used to be a Dr. Pepper, but I've cut that out. Now I got to work on the diet. I've cut out the sugar. Now I got to work on other stuff, but okay, and so they went to 12 cents, early 60s, and they stayed 12 cents all through the 60s until 1968. They went up to 15 cents. And then very early 71, I think, both Marvel and DC jumped up to 25 cents with thicker page count. Then Marvel reduced the page count and went to 20 cents. And that's when I consider the Bronze Age starting. And DC stuck with a 25-cent larger format for a little while longer, and then they cut the page count and went to 20 cents. So if I see 12 cents, I know it's 1960s, basically. It's going to be in the 60s. So 63. What's mystifying is why it says still only 12 cents when we know that comics didn't go up to 15 cents until 1968. Well, Gold Key actually raised... Am I still recording? Yes. Gold Key... Oh, I could put the camera up here. Gold Key raised their price briefly to 15 cents right about this time. And then they reduced it to... yeah, why didn't I think about putting it up here? They only raised the price for a few months to 15 cents and then realized, oh, this isn't working because our sales are horrible. And then they reduced it to 12 cents throughout the rest of the 60s. So that's why that's confusing. So I have two copies of this November 63 issue. When the comics went up to 12 cents, a lot of boys stopped reading comics. and the sales dropped. And for about 5 years with comics aimed at boys. They used to have comics aimed at girls too, and that's how they get these statistics. Because Superman sales dropped, but Lois Lane, which is, I mean, some guys read it. I mean, I love the comic, but mostly that was aimed at girls, at cool girls, the sisters of the guy who's reading Superman. In Archie, things that are traditionally, girls' comics, romance, the sales remained steady when the price went up to 12 cents. Boys' comics, the boys, I tell you these stories over and over again. I don't know how you stand it, but maybe it's like you're the old uncle. You see, he keeps telling you, or grandparent that tells you the stories over and over again. And you know the stories, but I repeat because I see on my YouTube statistics there's a lot of people that are just coming in, discovering the show, a lot of new viewers, so I tend to tell the same stories over and over again. Anyway, okay, so that's 63. This one, another great cover. This one says, oh boy, magnifying, my atomic magnifying glasses is handy. This says May of 65. Okay, so May of 65, I was born in April of 65, so this was probably on the newsstand when I was born. It would have come out March of 65 and would have still been on the stands. Okay, so that goes after the one we just looked at. This one, the one great thing about this era is they have the painting on the back cover without the logo. People nowadays, there's a lot of terms that new comic collectors are using now, younger comic collectors, and the older comic collectors like me, a lot of them have started adopting these terms being used, like key issue and run. I'm going to click the whole run, and there's other ones, but one of them is trade dress, and they refer to this as the trade dress. This is actually, I studied advertising in college. It's one of the things I studied in college is advertising, and I never heard this. Trade dress never was used by comic collectors. This is that's the trade dress. I keep trying to educate people, but I'm probably just coming across like an asshole like Howard Cosell, because I always asked my dad. I never really liked sports other than roller derby. That was fun when I was a little kid. And I watched a few hockey games. That was entertaining, but for the most part, But I would always see Howard Cosell being made fun of in Mad Magazine and Cracked, and I knew he was always the butt of jokes and culturally, and I asked my father, why does everyone hate Howard Cosell? Is it just because he has a funny way of talking? And he says, well, Howard Cosell comes across as obnoxious because he's always talking about how it's his job to educate the masses, that he's going to teach you about sports because he figures you're just too dumb. And that's how a lot of sports fans think of him, as he's like talking down to them, I guess. But that's the story. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just a story I heard from my dad. But anyway, trade dress is, like I keep trying to say, like if there was a can of Coca-Cola way down at the end of this room on, the floor, and that might have happened at one, no, just kidding. I could tell that's a can of Coca-Cola from a distance, from maybe half a football field away, because it's red and I see the stripe and the cursive lettering. That's just the trade dress. That is how you make it distinctive. Even if you're in another country, Africa, Russia, you can't, they write Coca-Cola differently, but you still recognize that as a can of Coke because, I see the writing, it's the stripe, the red, even though Coca-Cola's in the native language, you can tell it's Coke. And I can tell that's Gold Key from the placement of this and the fact that they don't have a Comics Code Authority stamp. That's another distinctive thing. And actually, in all honesty, yeah, the logo is part of the trade dress, but The thing now is they have all these multiple covers, these variants, and some are like this. They don't have anything on the back. They call them virgin covers, and they say it's without trade dress. Well, I just say without the logo, but I don't know. I'm never going to win because I'm one person against an army of NPCs. I was watching Tim Pool talk to someone yesterday, and they were talking about these people that just blindly follow along. Oh, Kamala Harris, she's popular now. I must be part of that. Oh, Taylor Swift's good. Everyone likes Taylor Swift. I must like Taylor Swift. They're like these non-playable characters in a video game that just move around and do the same thing every time we play the game in the background. And they don't seem to have any mind. They just move around. They're pre-programmed. And they were saying that some people they've asked people, and some people say they don't have an inner dialogue. Please give me a ring when you finish. My wife needs help opening a bottle, and I'm just going to go do that now. What that means, inner dialogue, is like when you're in the shower, you hear a voice, you think in words, you think in sentences, and some people say they don't. They don't hear talking in their head, not voices in their head, their own voice. They don't hear themselves actually thinking thoughts in words. They just see pictures, and that's really weird. But maybe that's just how, maybe some people's brains just a little bit differently. I don't know. Okay, I'll sit you down. I gotta go help my wife. I guess they. Oh boy, she's thinking she has a fever. Last Monday, she woke up with a fever, and it kept her from working for several days. Now she got better, and now she thinks she has the fever again. Curse you, Dr. Fauci, with your Pac-Man fever. Apparently, I'm making too much noise down here. I must have awakened her, so I may need to if I'm doing these morning shows, I may need to do them in the basement where I'm 2 floors away from her. I didn't realize I was that loud. Or it could be this jungle music that's playing. This is Jungle Rock Volume 2 on Sunny Boy 66, the YouTube channel. S, is it S-U-N? I think so. Let me check. Yes, indeed. SUNNYBOY 66. The unbelievable music available on that YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Dr. Solar. There are books that collect these, like archive editions, hardcover books that reprint all the Dr. Solars, but it's not as much fun as having the real books, I have to say. And this is True, you're upsetting the camera. This is December 65. And by 65, they stopped having the painting on the back cover. There's a book coming out about George Wilson. It keeps getting delayed. I think it's been delayed till Christmas. I think, from what I understand from Kevin Johnson, the owner and proprietor of Mesa, Arizona's famous comic book store, Gotham City Comics, he says that the George Wilson book, it was supposed to come out and then it was delayed till October. Now it's delayed till December. He thinks that maybe they don't have enough pre-orders, and because most people don't know who George Wilson is. They think it's Dennis the Menace's grumpy neighbor, who actually had the same name. But I always like to think that in Dennis the Menace's comics, that George Wilson, the guy next door that was always being annoyed by Dennis the Menace, was secretly painting these covers when he wasn't being annoyed by Dennis the Menace. December 65. Okay. That's May of 65. December comes after May. Look at this great cover. Man, that's really worthy of the pulps, these covers that Gold Key kind of carried forth the tradition. And that would be a wonderful painting to have over your couch. If you blew this up at a Kinko's, it really would. These back covers, that music might be annoying my wife. I better turn it down a bit. Sorry if you're enjoying it, but I gotta stay married here. Okay, it's fantastic, man. This is January of 65. I don't think these are that expensive. I don't know. I bought these decades ago, but are they expensive now? I don't know. I can't give you that information. September of 66. And again, that's, you see there, it says 609. Okay. That was a song about King Kong. That's good. Solar versus... do you pronounce it solar or solar? I've always pronounced it Dr. Solar. It probably is solar. Sounds better, solar. I don't know. One of those things. Khazar versus Kesar. They say Kesar, but I've always pronounced it Khazar. Whatever. Okay, what is this now? 66. Okay, this is my most recent one. 1966. This one is, this is April of 67. Now that's my most recent issue. Why? Look here. This is another copy I got from Duncanville Books, and look, they write on their price tag, it's issue number 19. Oh, look, they actually wrote the month of April there. They don't always do that, or do they? No, they don't. Well, actually, they do. Yeah, they write the month on all of them. What am I? I didn't even point that out to you guys. I was just focused on those last 3 digits there. See, it says 7, 10, October. So that confirms the 10 is October, and 7 will be 67. Oh, he's beating the heck out of that little octopus-looking thing. These are some of Dr. Fauci's latest creations. If you get stung by these things, it gives you Pac-Man fever. This is October of 67. April, okay. This looks early. Yeah. This is June of 63. It just has a look of being earlier. And the cover looks like something that would have been on a paperback cover in that time period. Very, very nice looking comics. These gold keys were June 63. Okay, I had November 63. This one's out of order because I got the call from the text from my wife and I put it on. But 64, October 64. Okay, there we go. Only a few more. Bear with me here. Then we'll say our morning prayer. Here's September 63. Okay. Okay. Compared to what 1963 Marvel comics would cost you, these are really affordable. This is issue 25. I put my little numbers there back in the late 70s that I got off of no, this probably would have been early 80s. That's when I started. I didn't get my first VCR until like 1980. So this comes from the decals, the stickers that you get for VHS cassettes, so you could number them. I put a 25, then put tape over it, so I know it's issue 25. And this is October 68. So that's now my most recent one. And this one is January of 69. I'm not sure how far, when they stopped publishing Dr. Solar. See, by this point, it was a 15-cent book. What did they switch over here? Yeah, 25 was also 15 cents. And my last Dr. Solar, I think I already have this. 65 May. Didn't I already show you this? Let me see. Yeah, I already have a copy of it. So I have two copies of that one. So that's my Dr. Solar collection. Man of the Atom. And it goes between Doc Savage and Dr. Spectre. Anyway, make sure to tune in later tonight. It'll be a great episode, if I do say so myself. So, now it's still too early to go to work. Too early, man. Let's see. I've got the dog food out for Drew. I fed the cat down in the basement. I organized my Dr. Solars. Oh, look at this. It's a replica of Lily Munster's pendant that she wore. It has a chain. I got to get the chain reattached to it. That was But there's a lot of things that we must do. Okay, so everybody's fed. Well, it's all right. We got to say our morning prayer. Drew the dog. There's a Drew likes to participate in the prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, please protect the United States of America in this time of need. Please help us to get through this time into times of prosperity, and please help everyone that's recovering from last week's hurricane and help everyone to evacuate with whatever important stuff they have, family photos, whatever, from the path of this hurricane coming Wednesday. And please help the world to be peaceful, and please just God bless everyone, and thank you. I've been saying, I don't really, I've kind of stopped, I've stopped consuming sugar. I've stopped saying amen, because that means like a period, like at the end. That's okay, the prayer's over, but I've been advised that we need to stay in a constant state of prayer. We're in a situation, well, it's easy to say that this is the worst time ever, I mean, I guess my parents, being born in the late 1920s, they went through the Depression and the World War II, starting. Those times seem pretty bleak, too, pretty horrible. But I think there was unity, and I just think that the country, the United States, the people of the United States were stronger and more moral back in those years, and so it helped them to get through those horrible times better. I don't know that I see the moral compass in a lot of people today, and I think I see that it's not that these people are necessarily evil. I think they've just been misled by the media and whatever influences in their life that made them think that, I don't know, man. You realize that the music industry, that Hollywood, and the mass media, everything is steering people towards evil, it seems like. It isn't like the music of the past, like this music. This music upholds good American values. Why am I putting on my sunglasses and it's 5:45 in the morning? That doesn't make any sense. Well, I like a mental patient. I have my sunglasses and my regular glasses. I know there's a better way to go about it. I need to reframe this. The frame broke. From hell it came. You think we have it bad with the threat of Kamala Harris? Just think of back then when you had to worry about giant trees carrying your wife away. And look, even a knife, you can't even kill the thing with a knife. Just so you get a perspective of how bad it used to be back in the 50s. So, well, okay, so Meyer Greenblatt's moving in today, so you need to keep him in your thoughts. Maybe say a prayer for him. I mean, it's not like anything bad's happening to him. His back's messed up, so he can't really be part of the move much. But that's a very traumatic thing for a collector to move all of their stuff to some other place, and he's got son and friends helping him, and they got everything packed up in a U-Haul, or I don't know how many U-Hauls, but today he's going to sign the lease, and all that stuff's going to be moved into the new apartment, and then we get to watch him unbox everything. So, Meyer Greenblatt. I was about to tell a story about Meyer Greenblatt yesterday, and at the end of yesterday's episode, I heard my wife kind of shout or scream from the other room, and then I went over to see, and I just ended the episode. I mean, she's obviously okay, just in case you're worried. But I was about to tell a story because I noticed they had an X-Men comic from the '60s with a chunk gone from the front cover, a little at the bottom left corner. So I opened it up as I wanted to see. Obviously, someone had cut out a coupon. I wanted to see what were they sending off for Charles Atlas course on dynamic tension, how to become a real man. But no, it was a Johnson Smith ad with all the little gag gifts, and so it was cut out. So some kid had ordered from that company, and I was thinking that I was saying that those coupons were filled out by kids. A lot of times they would fill it out, and then they'd ask their dad or mom, "Can I order this mask or this cardboard tank or whatever, or this live monkey?" And they would say no, and so I'd never cut it out of the comic. They'd write their name and address, then a comic, and then 50, 60, 70 years later, you get that comic, and it's got some kid's name who's now 75 years old somewhere, and it's got their childhood address there. And it's, like I was saying, it's fun to look up these addresses on the internet and see, oh, that's the house, that 50s ranch house, or whatever, that's where this comic book I'm holding in my hand used to be, in that house. I don't know, it's interesting to me. But you see these names that sometimes they're names that aren't common anymore, like Betty. No one's named Betty anymore, but anyway, Meyer Greenblatt, that's not his real name. He had an old comic book, and he had a coupon filled out, Meyer Greenblatt, and he's like, "I'm going to become Meyer Greenblatt for YouTube." So you get, sometimes I have this Harvey comic called Fruit Man. It was a spinoff of Bunny, and some kid filled out this. It was like a fill in the blank thing. We were supposed to fill in blanks, and he put the most horrifying curse words into that book. It's like, man, this kid was rough. He was around some real sailors. His dad was probably in the Navy. Well, I can't even show that on the show. Whenever I pull that comic out, it's like, nope, I can't show this, because he goes all out on that. Well, I got to stop this recording. I'm recording this music, but I'll stop it, and then I'll start it again later on after I return from my voyages across great rivers of blood. Okay, my control. Well, hopefully the next time we meet later on today, there's not going to be horrible things happening in the news, but you kind of know there will be. So let's just keep the prayers going, because this will all come to an end. God will win. We're in the part of the movie where you think the bad guy's gonna win, and then the ending. The hero rallies forth and winds up winning. And so be the hero, ladies and gentlemen, and have a wonderful day. Don't take any wooden nickels. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And don't come home a drinking with comics on your mind, ladies and gentlemen.